Today, we are diving into one of the wildest, most unbelievable operational failures in modern banking. Seriously, this isn't a story about some clever heist or a sophisticated cyber attack. Nope, this is about a single click. A single catastrophic click that basically lit nearly $1 billion on fire. Let's get into it. Okay, just look at this number. $893 million. In August of 2020, this is the amount that Citibank accidentally, and I mean accidentally, wired out into the world. This one number is where our incredible story really kicks off. So you have to be asking, how in the world does a mistake like that even happen? Well, the setup is almost boringly normal. You've got a contractor at Citibank, and their job for the day is pretty routine. Just process a small interest payment for the cosmetics company Revlon. Send it out to their lenders. This is something that happens thousands of times a day in finance. And this is where things just go completely off the rails. What the user meant to do was send out an interest payment of about $7.8 million. A decent chunk of change, sure, but manageable. What the system actually did, it paid off the entire loan principal plus the interest, shooting out that staggering $893 million. A simple payment turned into one of the biggest banking blunders of all time. Right away, the big question for everybody was, how? Just how? How does a massive global bank make an error of this scale? Well, the investigation didn't uncover some secret hacker or a case of fraud. The culprit was right there, hiding in plain sight. It was the software they were using. So, at the heart of this whole disaster is this piece of software called FlexCube. Now, on paper, it's a super powerful system for banks. But in reality, it was infamous for having one of the most confusing, clunky, and just plain awful user interfaces you can imagine. We're talking about a design so bad it was practically an accident waiting to happen. And that's the key here. It wasn't a malicious attack. It was a design flaw. The system's interface made it dangerously easy for a user to make this exact massive mistake. Now, you're probably thinking, weren't there any safety checks? Oh, there were. Citibank had what they called a 6 eyes approval process. That means 3 different people had to look at it and sign off. The problem? The interface was so confusing that all 3 of them made the exact same mistake. They all thought they were approving a small interest payment, but the system was actually set up to send the whole shebang. It was just a total collision of human error and truly terrible software design. Now, you don't just accidentally send out almost $1 billion and fix it with a quick phone call. When some of the lenders who got the money refused to give it back, Citibank had no choice but to sue them. And believe it or not, this is where the story gets even crazier. So the aftermath was just complete chaos. Of that huge sum of money that was wired out, a bunch of the lenders just kept it. They basically said, hey, this is what Revlon owed us, so we're considering the loan paid off. Citibank immediately sued to get the money back, arguing, come on, it was an obvious mistake. The whole thing ended up in court, and the result was something absolutely nobody saw coming. In what was just a jaw-dropping decision, the court actually sided with the lenders. The judge's ruling, in a nutshell, was that from the perspective of the people who received the money, the transfer looked totally intentional. It just didn't look like an accident, which tells you just how deep this system's failure really went. So why on earth would the court rule that way? Well, the logic was actually pretty straightforward. First, the amount of money sent matched, down to the penny, the total amount Revlon owed those lenders. Second, the payment came from Citibank, who was Revlon's official loan agent. And third, Citibank's own complex 6 eyes approval system didn't raise a single red flag. So to anyone on the outside looking in, it looked like a perfectly legitimate payoff of a loan. Now, Citibank did eventually get the money back after a long appeal process. But that initial ruling, wow. It was a brutal lesson for the entire financial world. It turned this from just a dumb, expensive mistake into a landmark case study about operational risk and, more importantly, the critical role of good design. The lessons from this whole fiasco are crystal clear. User interface design isn't just about making things look pretty, it's a fundamental safety issue. When you've got systems handling billions of dollars, you need layers of approval that are actually clear. The system has to practically scream at you, are you absolutely 100% sure you want to do this, in a way that's impossible to misunderstand. At the end of the day, Citibank's $900 million click is just this powerful, unforgettable reminder of a simple truth. In high-stakes fields like banking, the clarity of your tools isn't just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely critical. The price of a bad user interface in this case was nearly $1 billion. And it kind of leaves you with this unsettling thought, right? We all use complex systems every single day, and we trust them to do what we want. This whole story really forces you to ask yourself, what's the most dangerous button you press every day? And how sure are you about what's really going to happen when you click it?